childhood stories. Today's will be called Kids, Sleds, and BB Guns because they played a large part in this life. So let me start with the story of a little kid in the neighborhood who had a big hill behind his house. He was a little nebbish kid that the other kids didn't want to play with, and his name was Kingston. No other modifier on that. And so what happened was we wanted to get him just because we were vicious little kids and we were older than him. So on a moon-filled night with a dark cold in the back suburban backyard, there was this big hill that ran through pine trees, little pine trees. So our game was to get him hung up, literally. And what we did was we ran down the hill with our sleds like we were going to jump and race to the bottom. So little Kingston, who wore one of these little hats that had flaps over his ears, he looked like a little Russian soldier on top of a T-34. He's there, yeah, let's do it. And he runs on the hill and all of us stop and he goes lightning fast to the gap in the pine trees down at the bottom of the hill. The funny thing about that was that, I don't know if it was funny now, it was dangerous. We could have killed the kid. We had gone down to the bottom of the hill in the dark and put a wire mesh across the opening. The wire mesh was surrounding like bushes and little shrubs and stuff, but we strung it right through the gap. And then when we did this stunt, he goes ricketing down the hill, rocketing. We all stand there holding our breath going, oh boy, this is going to be great. And it was great. He hit this thing going like, 20 miles an hour on a sled, and just the sled kept going underneath the wire, and he just went cha-chang, and he hung up on the wire. It was great. Could have blinded the kid, could have caused him psychic trauma for the rest of his life. We never heard any more except that he survived. So that's sled story number one. There was another story which was equally fun, only I was the victim. There was a friend of mine named Billy who had a really good long backyard, and he had a great strong BB gun that we used to love to play. We were only like 7 years old. He was in my class. And his backyard was covered with glaze ice, like snow. And so he decided that he was going to, shall we say, I gave him permission to shoot me if I got a running start. And I figured it's icy out, he'll never hit me, and I'll zigzag down this ice-coated field. And I started 30 feet away from him. So I said, by the time I say go, he'll have to draw a bead and get me. I was as stupid as I was young, and I didn't realize that Billy was going to train his gun on me from the minute I jumped on the sled and started running down this slope. And about 10 seconds into my run, I'm zipping along and thinking I'm a great stuntman. And the next thing you know, I say go, and he instantly hits me in the leg with a high-speed BB that sends me screaming and tumbling into the glare ice on the field. So I got what I deserved, and I realized from that point on in my demonic upbringing that it's best to use another neighborhood kid to test out your ideas. Don't be the stunt man. So that was that BB gun story. And lastly, just as a test to wet your whistle, I had a very rough older brother. He was, I'll call him Eddie, but that's all I'll say. And he had done all kinds of things to me to make me want to get back at him because I was 2 years younger than him. He had seen the Elliot Ness show where Elliot Ness takes gangsters in the 1950s and throws them against a wall. I was his stunt coordinator. He used me in all his stunts, and anything he saw on TV, he did to me. So what he did was he threw me against the wall so hard, just like in the movie, and I got a hairline fracture on my neck. My head was so damaged that I couldn't lift it up. It hurt so much. So I spent 2 weeks in bed with my head propped up on the pillow. I was much like the old, if anybody knows the story of Elephant Man, my huge misshapen head was laying on this pillow, and I was just thinking, how do I get him back? How do I get him back? He's bigger than me. He's 9. I'm 7. He beats me all the time. How can I get him back? I always felt myself to be Sherlock Holmes's smarter younger brother, so I came up with a demonic plan which I called the Demon's Revenge. That's why I'm wearing this Sherlock Holmes hat, by the way. You might see that on Bazarro, man. But in any event, what happened was I waited for my revenge for about a month. I wanted to get a BB gun, but I'm 7 years old. I can't get a BB gun. In order to get a BB gun, what do you need? You need an adult. You need somebody to help you find a BB gun. But I was Sherlock Holmes' smarter younger brother. So I was looking through comic books, which were my staple in my youth. And I saw this thing, if you sold 6 boxes of some kind of Christmas cards, they would send you a 12-shot Daisy BB. My wife always says I remind her from the kid from A Christmas Story, the little kid who got his Red Ryder gun. I got my BB gun, and it was for one purpose and one purpose only, to get my brother back. So here it is, a month later, I got the BB gun. I sold 6 boxes of cards to neighbors, and I went to the store and loaded up in like a container of 250 BBs. I had this planned like a hit, like an assassination. And I said, okay, now's the plan. We get outside the house, and we had a tree fort in the backyard. It was a 3-pronged tree fort that about 20 feet up. It had a platform and an enclosure. So what happened was I told him, Eddie, go up there. No shirt on, his bare back. So he starts climbing up the tree, and I come up behind him on the ground, all thought out. And I had seen the movie The Outlaw Jesse James, when they shot him in the back shooting a picture on TV. So I said, there's my strategy. I come up behind him, and I go one fanning click on his left back, and I see him he's strung out now between the branches, totally helpless, and he goes, ow! And then I say, okay, how about this, you SOB? Bang, I hit another one. And he goes, ow! And then I just go psycho. Little 7-year, this is the birth of the demon. I had a lot of trouble overcoming my demonic tendencies that I got through my battles with Eddie. So then I just said, to hell with it. And I went, bang, and I emptied the whole 12 shots into his back. And he fell like 20 feet back out of the tree and landed flat on his back. In retrospect, I could have crippled him for the rest of his life, but I didn't care. He fractured my neck. So I just calmly, I knew it was so well thought out, I knew he wasn't going to just jump up and start beating on me. So I calmly climbed up the tree while he's laying there screaming on the ground. And he throws what do you call it? He gets so incensed that his first response was predictable, and young Sherlock Holmes figured it out. He was going to blindly charge the tree. So I had calmly refilled my gun with 13 BBs, not 12. I wanted all of them. I jammed an extra one in. So now when he made his charge, he had no chance of getting me. I was 25 feet in the air, enclosed in a partial tree fort. And he put his hand out on a branch. I went, bang! And he goes, ow! And then he puts his other hand out, bang! So finally, he's just howling with rage. I would have been killed. If he got his hands on me, I have no doubt I wouldn't be making this today as an old man. So he goes in the house and says, He's got to get a weapon. He's got to get something to get me out. So he finds in the garage a big leather football, and he stands there for 15 minutes throwing the football as hard as he can to try to get me. But I'm behind these little crappy plywood boards, and the only damage he did to me, at one point the board was hit and driven to hit me in the head, but it didn't do anything to me. And I said, I'm not coming down until Dad gets home. And then my father comes home. I was up there. I had comic books. I was all prepared for a siege. He couldn't get me. I'm getting the most delightful revenge that a 7-year-old who's smart can get on a 9-year-old who's wild and savage and who beat on him. So this was the memory that I carried through most of my life. My poor brother is gone now, and I love him dearly. We became friends, but I always told him it was the memory that I put in an encrusted jewel case. Like people get a prom pin or a diamond ring, they put it in a little black box with felt. That was the memory that I kept in my head of any time he did anything to me. I remember the day I shot him out of the tree. It was glorious. I hope you like it. Thank you.